This is the Inspection Pro Joe podcast, where we break down everything you need to know to grow a successful home inspection company. Join hosts Joey and Jake as they share insider knowledge and chat with the industry's best on how to take your business to the next level.
Welcome back to Inspection Pro Joe, episode 40. Today, Joey and I have with us Andrea and Glennen Quyn of Cal Pro Inspection Group. And we are very, very excited to have them with us today because they were able to take their company from $850,000 a year to $600,000 a month in just a 3-year period. So today we're happy to go through their story about how they got into home inspections and then follow the timeline of this rapid growth and see how they got from where they were starting out to where they are today in this period of rapid growth and all of the inflection points and turning points in that timeline. So thank you guys very much for joining us today.
Yeah, it's exciting. Like I said, we've never really done this before, so something good.
Yeah, great to be with you guys today.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. I mean, this is going to be such a great episode for the new guy that wants to grow and those people that are stuck at $1 million mark, $2 million mark, and have been doing that same thing year in and year out. I'm just so excited for you guys to share your story and share what you guys are doing and what you guys have done to get to where you are. So thanks again for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Glennen, so you started a company 12 years ago is when you got in the home inspection industry. And what made you want to grow? What made you want to start becoming that multi-inspector firm or hiring that first inspector? Was there a turning point? Was it a decision like, hey, I can't just continue to bust my ass day in and day out for the rest of, till I retire?
Yeah, totally. So yeah, it's funny. I just kind of fell into this whole home inspection business. I was a bartender for the longest time, and I got my college degree around 2006, I think, and that was right. It was in aviation, so the aviation business was pretty down after 9/11. In 2008, I randomly ran into my in-laws' neighbor, who was a pastor and a part-time home inspector. So we started a relationship and got to know each other, and I was really curious about what this home inspection gig is about. So we were golfing one day, and I'm like, hey, tell me more about this. And I've always been, in the back of my mind, I always wanted to find something to, find a business so I can work for myself or someone else for time freedom and finances and things like that. So in 2008 is when it all started. I had zero construction experience. And then I signed up for a home inspection online class and read all my books and got my certification towards the end of 2008, which was also the bottom of the market.
Bottom of the market, yeah.
Oh, man, interesting time. So honestly, at that point, after I got my license or certification, it took me about 6 months to actually get on and get my first inspection. And I bartended part-time. I had 3 kids at the same time, small kids.
Wow, look at you.
Yeah, trying to get into offices and, learn the ropes of like, hey, how do I get my first inspection, my second inspection, getting those agents, learning the marketing and who do I market to, where do I go? I mean, from scratch, right?
Yeah.
And working night as a bartender and my wife was in school and also working. So that was just a brief description of the get-go. And so it was a very slow-moving process. Honestly, I thought it was like, hey, this is just extra money. Being a home inspector, I can be just like my pastor, doing 3-4 inspections a week, maybe if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
Great money, and I love bartending, so
yeah,
great. So I had to fake a lot till I made it. Like my first inspection, I was definitely not qualified to do.
Googling in the attic.
I love it.
It's fun.
Thank God for smartphones.
Definitely had a flip phone, I think. I first started doing, I think my first inspection, maybe I did it on a paper form kind of thing, check marks.
Wow.
That's what my my mentor had. So I was just kind of following his footsteps, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then, I was like, and then time passed, I'm doing a couple inspections a week now, maybe 3 or 4. Super excited at this point. Then I really leaned into like, oh my gosh, I think there's some opportunity here. At the same time, I had some offers from the restaurant I worked to be a manager with a steady salary and things like that. So I really had to make a decision at that point. I think the bottom line is your commitment. I was super committed to like, you know what? I see opportunity in this. I'm going to run for it, and I'm going to just give it all I got. And with that mindset, I started hustling on the marketing side and really giving great service, really good people. I connect really well with people, so agents started referring me. And at the same time, I thought that, hey, you know what? If I want to be a great inspection company, I need some construction experience to like give some credibility. So I started doing like small repairs here and there, just from the book knowledge I got from home inspection course.
Yeah.
Then one thing led to another, and another huge thing is, you got to be open to meeting people, having conversations. Curiosity is a big deal for me. I'm very curious. So I always like, inquire about things. Hey, how does this go? Why did you do that? And whatnot. So I made a relationship with a contractor, and I was able to get my license without experience. I got 2 years for my degree. Then my buddy signed off. Then I got my contractor license for credibility, and that actually gave more credibility when I talked to agents and things like that, because in my head, I know that I'm not quite qualified to really do a great inspection, but constantly knew that that is important because I felt that I was cheating my clients, and I have to be honest and straight up, have integrity. So anyway, one thing led to another. I got the experience, and I quit the bartending gig. And I remember, like in 2010, 11-ish, I was doing construction and home inspections, like working 15, 16-hour days. But making really good money. I was my wife. I remember this day clearly. We both do. We're like, hey, if we can do 2 inspections a day, we'll be set for life.
Actually, we said we'll be rich. That's what we said.
We'll be rich.
If we can just do a day, we will be rich.
And Andrea, how were you helping while this was going on?
You wasn't? No,
No.
I was also in college and a waitress at night. We had 3 very young kids. Our youngest is still in diapers. We were a broke young family. I was only 25 with 3 kids. Like, it was crazy. I didn't really do anything in the beginning. I didn't join him until 2018. After he got introduced to this, and we were really struggling personally, he did convince me to become a realtor. So I was actually, at the same time, I was into real estate, but on the transaction side.
Okay, cool. And Glennen, you said credibility, and I think that's important for our listeners. Did you feel more credible yourself, or did it really, and that gave you the push, or did you actually really need that contractor experience? Was it more for you, and then you say, you know what, now that I got this, now I can really run with it?
Yeah, it was actually
in retrospect.
It was definitely.
Was it more for you?
Yeah, it was definitely both. I knew that, hey, you know what? I'm all about great service. Even as a bartender, I mean, all my customers love. I mean, I always wanted to make a drink perfectly, right? And I always wanted to learn how to make drinks better and new cocktail recipes and things like that. So it's just a combination of both. One, for me to know that I want to be an expert. And two, for people to actually know that, you know, I know that I'm giving them a good quality service. And then it works out both ways, right? It was both for me. And then more I gained knowledge in the business, in the inspection field, I became more open to expansion, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, when I really wanted to hire my second inspector, it came to a point I was just working so hard. I was just busting my ass.
Yeah. We never saw him, ever.
Yeah, no vacation. Yeah. 15, 16-hour days, stressed out, you know, all that. And I had to just kind of choose. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go back to that 2008 mindset of like, I need to commit to one thing. So I really decided not to do the construction. And I felt I had a bigger opportunity to, you know, make almost the same amount of money, but I would have a balanced life. Like I would have the evenings off and, you know, not working so much. But then actually it came to a point I'm doing so many inspections. Now I can remember I was running like a crazy person. I did 5 inspections in one day.
Oh my God.
And that was the day before we went to Hawaii for a vacation after a long, long time.
Yeah.
It was just absolute chaos, right?
Yep.
But then I don't know about hiring employees. I didn't know anything around 2014. I was not in any organization. I didn't have any friends in the business. My pastor knew only so much, my mentor. But he always mentally, you know, always like lifts me up like, hey, you're doing a great job. I'm really impressed and you're going the right direction and things like that. There's a lot of praying involved for sure.
Yeah. I bet.
So
I have a question about when you hired that first inspector, right? So you said that you felt like you weren't qualified for inspections at first. And it seems like, you know, coming from the service industry as a bartender, you felt like you weren't qualified for inspection, but you were qualified in great customer service, right? That's the focus of your job. So how do you impart that on a new inspector? That focus of, hey, you might feel like you're not, you know, up to par where I started. You might feel the same way. How did you impart that? As long as you're nailing the customer service, the rest will come with experience.
Right, totally. So I was at a point that I was just overwhelmed with work and I needed help. And I was like, okay, how do I go about this? Again, another big thing is the relationships that you create. I had a really close buddy, and he was a realtor. We were having a chat. I'm like, here's where I stand. And he's like, hey, you know what? I know a guy. I think he would be great. He has some construction experience. And now I'm like, you know, like really contractor level in my knowledge now. So, okay, if this guy knows how to do a little bit of construction, and I know how to do the inspections, maybe I might be able to train him just to do like the basic stuff. More than him being an inspector, I just wanted some help. So, you know, I started having him like help me check outlets and like reduce the time I'm spending on an inspection. So I'm trying to be a little strategic, right? And then continue on 6 or 8 months later, I decided that, okay, it's time to maybe get this guy certified, just like how I got certified. So, you know, I knew about Inanachi, then they had their online course and things like that. Anyway, I got him certified. Now I have 2 inspectors. Great, things are going awesome. And and I'm the marketing person. I'm the bill collector. I'm the report writer. I'm just doing everything, right?
Oh wow!
Just like
look at you
the guys who are, you know, 1-man, 2-man shows. It was still a lot of running around, no balance. I was making the most money I've ever made at that point. I was at Actually, let me step back a little bit. Before I hired my helper, I can't remember how. Actually, you know what? Someone reached out to me, saw me on Yelp or something.
Oh, wow.
A certified inspector who was doing this on part-time, an Air Force guy, Air Force pilot, and we started talking, and I was so busy, I started subbing out stuff to him.
Oh, wow.
I got even busier, so he couldn't handle my stuff. Then I got my helper and got him trained. Then I tried to bring the part-time guy full-time, but he couldn't do it. So kind of in that relationship, and then the ball started rolling, right? So I hired my second inspector.
Yep.
And I'm still on the job. In 2015, 16-ish, I was at 3 guys now. And I went to one of Nathan Thornberry's meetings in Phoenix. And at that point, I think we were about 385 sales, maybe 450-ish.
Okay.
It was really good. I mean, I started seeing like real opportunity in the home inspection.
Yeah.
I really wanted to but at that point, I mean, I was using Google Calendar to do my scheduling. And I called my phone to order inspections, to complaints, questions, whatever.
Yeah.
My gosh, there was like no structure at all.
Yeah.
It was just such a mess.
That went on for a while.
But then,
that's crazy.
I met one of my best friends right now at that meeting, Rob Lemoyne, from Residential Inspector of America. Just randomly ran into him, we just hit it off. And, it was like, they were in business since 1985-ish. His dad started the business. So I'm two-person, then Nathan's meeting had some great content. Then I learned about ISN. And now I'm talking to these inspectors who are multi-firm. Rob had 8 inspectors, and I wouldn't stop talking with the questions. I'm like, oh my gosh, question after question after question. I'm really starting to learn, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's open with your eyes of like what could be.
Exactly. I mean, Cave, and then Chad Head was speaking there, and Patty Thornberry was there, large company. I'm hearing all these people having like big inspection companies, and I'm like this guy who, all I knew was Korea. Never been to an inspector conference or a meeting, or how, if there are any multi-inspector firms, and how do they function and things like that. So meeting those people and all that was great, and that actually led me to put some processes in place. But this, on my knowledge level, it was like this much knowledge compared to what we're at now. ISN helped great. Getting that integrated was a big project, but it was definitely essential. It's a huge driver for us. So that gave me the importance of having processes in place, right? And then I started hiring more inspectors. There was no proper interview process, a structured way to do interviews. I mean, like I said before, I'm great with people, and and it was all word of mouth. People just say like, hey, you know what, you're growing. I have a buddy, he might be a great inspector, and things like that. Then 2018, beginning of 2018, I was at like, I think 6 inspectors. 6 or 8 inspectors, including me. I was still in the field.
Okay.
And, I think we were doing about $795-ish in sales. Again, the only structure we really had was ISN, and so at that point, I actually was really on a. I felt like I hit a ceiling. I slowed down on the inspections. I'm like, you know what? I can manage all these guys and have them, do what they do. And so I was like really like just taking some time off, just golfing a couple of times a week.
Nice.
It was really nice.
Yeah.
So I was like, what? I hit a ceiling. It's like I didn't feel right. I felt like, I was always looking for more. I always want to do more. And I'm like, what's the next big move? What is it?
Yeah.
And, the only thing at this point was, I'm constantly following Rob and Kat, see what they're doing and trying to like implement the stuff they're doing. No like super in-depth conversations, but yeah, super lost, like no structure again.
So that is actually a pivotal moment for me, in my mind for us, because in December of 2018, so in this time period, that is when we went to our first RGT. So Rob and Kat dragged us there. And
heck yeah.
They're like every part of our pivotal points. I love it. But anyway, so she convinced us to go to this thing called RGT, and we went, and that was the year I jumped in the business with him. I stopped selling real estate.
Okay.
I didn't know what I was doing at all. I just knew real estate and customer service. And I remember at RGT, in the very beginning, Dirk is going around, what's your name, where are you from, and what do you do in the company? And I started to panic because everyone's like, I do this, I do that, and I didn't know what I did. And
I don't do anything.
So he got to me, and I said, I'm Andrea, and Glennon's partner, and I don't know what my role is. But I worked full-time in the company. And so that was a huge wake-up moment for us of like, oh, shit. We really, we might have the volume that looks really good on the outside, but we have zero structure. It was really eye-opening. So I'm really glad that he asked that question about things.
And so you get done rapid growth. You have like almost $1 million company. Then what? What was the transition to say, okay, let's go all in. I left my job. I want to come in on this business. What next?
We defined our roles. We defined our roles. We launched a new service. And this is probably more area specific, but we knew at the time that all we were doing was home inspections. And we knew we were, termite inspections and repairs and treatments are a big thing where we live. And there was a demand for us. So what we did is we were actually outsourcing that. We weren't licensed. So we were outsourcing that to another company. And we knew we had a couple issues with that. One, we just knew we were leaving money on the table. Let's call it what it is. But two, there's some quality control issues, not to be a control freak, but there is. You cannot control the quality that another company gives, even though you're the one with your clients there. And about 85% of, sometimes a little more, of our clients get a termite inspection. So that was a big issue for me. But he didn't have any pest control or termite experience. He can't get licensed without that experience. So we knew there was a little bit of a roadblock. We knew it had to be done to add in-house services. The only way to do it was to put the right people in place, which is part of RGT, find your who's, right? And so we already knew we had that roadblock. We knew we were leaving tons of money on the table, but we couldn't quite get a crystal clear vision of how to execute that. And just a few months later, so the RGT moment was December 2018. I want to say March of 2019, we put a termite operator in position, and the first 12 months, just our termite division broke $1 million. So we were right. We knew we were leaving a lot of money on the table. And then what happened is, because we were able to better service our clients, that also helped our home inspection side of the company grow too. So it was like this circular thing happening, spiral growth. So that was our biggest pivotal point in 2019.
And so you needed the tech to get the license?
Well,
was that how you got the license?
We need the experience to get the license, but we don't have the experience.
Okay.
Nor are we willing to go work for someone else for 2 years. So the way around that is to hire somebody who can be your license, right?
And then he gives you the experience.
We have no desire to get licensed.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
that is awesome.
I'm going to jump in real quick. The biggest aha moment for everything that we have right now, like the real rapid growth, was actually RGT, and it was definitely the mindset part of it. That really opened my eyes, like in massive ways. Like, Dirk Van Rienen always speaks about, you don't know what you don't know, and you know what you don't know, and things like that. So I really dove deep into, the mindset, like, things like that. And, I was just unsure, uncertain. There were so many uncertainties, fear, and things like that. And I knew that for us to, grow to a level of some of the bigger companies in our area, we needed the termite division. And I did not know how to do a high-level interview. I did not know how to find a high-level person, have the conversation, stuff like that. And
how could we afford it?
Right.
Half days of RGT, they teach you that. And I'm a quick learner. As long as someone tells me the right stuff and it makes sense, I can implement it. So,
and you're not afraid. He's not afraid to try something scary.
Not afraid. So you have to be a risk taker. You
have to be,
of course. For the entire journey, that was huge. Drive, determination, commitment, consistency, and being willing to take risks. You still have to be fearful, but you have to also overcome those fears if you really accelerate in growth and in every level, right? So we put an ad, and
we interviewed him at Starbucks.
I love it.
We said, hey, do you want to be our new director of termite? For the company that we don't even have yet. He had to take
that is
we
awesome.
On him. It was a really good thing. So.
Yeah. So
and he was the licensed guy. The director of termite was licensed.
Yeah. We needed to hire
awesome
a licensed person.
But you have to be careful with that because he is way more than just a license. He's a key driver in our company. And I think that was just part of the stars aligning for us because, like we said, we didn't know what we were doing. We kind of lucked out there on who the who was. I don't think it's hard to go out and find someone who's willing to take a risk on your company. You know what I mean? We didn't go through that many people. But I don't think that anyone would have been helping us get to where we are. He is a great driver in our company.
And how big is your termite division?
Well, that was just termite, not pest control. We actually just recently launched pest control. Right now,
we'll hit about $4 million this year
in the termite side.
Yeah, in just termites.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, still termite. So when I say termite, I want people out there to know this. This is kind of like a California thing that we call it a WDO report, wood destroying organism, versus like most of the other states are wood destroying insect report, and that's just a report of like, hey, is there termites or not? For us, it's termites and any other wood-destroying insects and wood fungus. So we actually give estimates to do repairs on our report, and that is a requirement for the termite report. And so we within our organization, our termite division, we do termite inspections and treatments. And the repairs, so construction too. And we have a big crew for the construction. We sub out a lot of stuff. And then we kind of have pest control going, but we haven't like really started driving it because we really wanted to get really good at the termite and repair side and get that really structured.
Oh wow!
So we're getting into the pest control. And we're going to be starting to really drive that hard very soon.
And even on the termite side, there's so much more opportunity for us. Right now, about approximately 15% of our termite inspections convert to repairs or treatments. And that's kind of effortless. That's just by giving them the repair.
Yeah.
And so, the conversations we're having now of like, well, what if we put effort? Could we double that number?
Oh my God. Yeah.
So anyway, there's a lot of opportunity done with what
So the termite is a $4 million operation, and what is the remediation? How much of that revenue comes from actually remediation?
most of it.
So yeah, most of it is
That's the big part.
very much. Yeah.
So we might
Yeah.
our inspections on average is $125, and we might do an inspection. We might have a termite treatment, which is $1,200, $1,500, and we might get a $30,000 job on construction because it could be a deck that is like completely rotted out that we have to redo. I mean, I think at this point was about $58,000. Just
wow.
Job.
But that's not normal. Those are, that's I would say most of them are like around $1,000, $2,000 in that area.
$2,000,
roughly.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And you've been doing that for 2 years.
Beginning of 2019. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you're at $4 million on the termite side. It's amazing how quick that took off for you.
But close. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been fantastic hearing the journey through your timeline so far. We need to take a quick commercial break to hear a word from our sponsor. But when we're back, we'll finish up with the rest of your timeline and then look into the future and some tips and tricks for those of you starting out.
The home inspection industry is highly competitive, and you need an edge to stay on top. You certainly can't afford to give profit away for no reason. But what if I told you credit card processors may be overcharging you and robbing you of profits you've worked hard to earn? It's time to put an end to being overcharged for payment processing. It's time to take back your profits. That's why we've put together a free report, How to Avoid Being Overcharged by Your Payment Processor. Head over to takebackyourprofits.com, download the report, and put an end to being overcharged for credit card processing. You've worked hard for your sales, and you deserve to keep it. What are you waiting for? Go to takebackyourprofits.com and download your report today.
All right, and we're back. Thank you very much for being with us today, Andrea and Glennen. We really appreciate it. This has been a fantastic story so far. So I just wanted to get back into, all right, how after all of these turning points did you continue to grow and at such a rate after 2019 to today?
I would say there's really two more pivotal points that were really critical. And they were literally the next year. So the year we launched termite, that's the year we hit 1.3 million. We didn't do termite the entire year. So that year we hit so we had 840 in 2018, 1.3 million in 2019. In 2020, we had two things that we did, and we hit 3.7 million. One, we started really putting leadership in place. So once we, hired on our termite leader, it opened up our eyes times a million of like, what else are we missing here? It's the who's, right? That's what.
Yeah, the who's.
You always talk about find your who's. And so we had one huge success, and then we started realizing we need to have clear structure and put people in place. So in 2020, we put leadership in place. I struggle with that word because we ourselves weren't good leaders, so we had companies, but there was development that needed to be done, including ourselves. We're still in that.
Yeah.
And then we also acquired a small company about 2.5 hours or 3 hours away from us. It was a very small company. That was a year and a half ago, and it's 4 times larger than it was when we acquired it. And basically, we just put our same processes in place over there. We saw a company that wasn't doing what we were doing. They needed to exit the industry, and so we took over and we did that. So that was a huge key bar marker, a key turning point, and then putting in the leadership in place. So that was how we wrapped up 3.7 million in 2020. This year, we're going to hit 6 million, and all we've really done differently this year is hardcore developing our leadership team. We already have
awesome
processes. Right now, it's developing our people and ourselves. Our number one goal right now is just be better leaders, and create leaders and all that.
What is the structure of your guys' company as far as leadership and then the breakdown?
Yeah, so we have 3 different divisions, actually kind of 4. We have operations, huge part in our growth and our service part of it. So we actually have 2 service divisions. One is the termite and one is the home inspections. And we have division leaders. We had to put them in place. We're completely following everything that IEB teaches, and it works great for us. And one key point is that, you can go to these events, you can talk to people, but if you don't implement, it's all useless. So implement and choose which ones are important and just do it.
Take a leap of faith.
So that's kind of what our structure is. And, we look at some companies who are like, twice as big in employee size, but, we're doing more revenue, but we run a very tight ship. And, at this point, we have like great leaders who just do a great job running their divisions. And, again, it's very tight.
We do push our people pretty hard.
We do push them.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing for me. I'm all about, you're built to do more. Never accept just, okay? We can't have leaders with where we're going. So we're constantly developing them to think big, and we need people who are willing and capable to think big, right? And then we like to create opportunities. And we also know that, some leaders are great up to a point and they're going to hit ceilings. But then we're constantly making them aware of those ceilings, because we all run into ceilings. It's a matter of like learning past those ceilings, right? So we're constantly pushing our leaders. And we're really getting into like more structured people management, do a lot of, before 2 months ago, we had no personality assessment during the interview process. It was all most of the time because I'm really good with people. And
we would fight because I'd give a crappy interview and he'd be like, "What are you doing?" And I'd hire him. He's like, "You can't do that." Like I said, we're constantly growing. We're learning still.
Yeah, that is awesome. Now,
right now is actually a really, really fun time. We're at a higher level in IEV right now, so we're really having those higher level conversations, and it's all about creating those big visions. And our 5-year goal is to hit at 50 million.
50 million.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that is amazing.
A couple weeks ago, we just had a 3-day leadership meeting. And it was kind of funny because, we have our weekly leadership meetings and everyone brings their numbers and they're ready to report, how their week went. And everybody showed up to this meeting and they're like busting out the numbers, and Glennon's just like, "Stop. We're not talking about that." They're like, "What? We came over prepared, right?" He's like, "That's not what we're here for. We're here to discuss that in 5 years, we're going to be a $50 million company. And then what does that look like?" So we kind of painted that picture, and I love it. He's a really good visionary and always pushing us, including me.
That is awesome. And so the key is making sure you have the right leaders in the right seats. How many leaders did you actually have to go outside and hire? Because I know sometimes even within my company, people that have just been there and it was kind of like the next thing, like, "Oh, okay, I'm going to promote you to the leader because that's where you can only be promoted to." How many did you actually have to develop from within your company, and how many did you just say, "Hey, we don't have nobody that can be a leader. I have to go outside and find the right person"?
Well, only our termite leader came from outside. Our home servicing leader has been with us for a long time. It's awesome. We've just watched him alongside of us. I love him. And the growth leader, she actually was a part-time. So what I'm going here is don't ever assume you know someone's capabilities. So when we acquired that small company that I told you about, she was part-time and she only wanted to be part-time. And then, so she never really had the desire nor the opportunity to really shine. And her life changed. And so she came to us and said, "I want to go full-time. How can I earn that?" And so she needed to earn full-time. And then she came to us again. "I need more. How do I earn that?" And so don't ever assume, because we kind of laugh about it. Sometimes we're like, we never thought she'd even stick around. Like, we literally thought she'd for a month or so, and then she's going to hate the new ownership or who knows what. And she's a badass now. Like, she's a great asset to our team. So don't ever assume that you do or don't have somebody. But we are looking to hire right now for operations, and that might be outside. We'll see. Unknown.
That might be outside. That is so cool. And so basically what you guys taken IEB's model, for those of the listening that don't know, that's Inspection Empire Builder, mentoring organization that you can be a part of. You took the systems and processes that they implement and implemented that, and that was the that was a game changer for the structure of your company and helped you really explode to that rapid growth?
Yeah. So one thing about neither of us are very creative. Like, we're not usually the ones who are going to come up with our own system. There's nothing in our company that I can't give credit to someone else, whether it's a friend or a coaching company or anything. I think the only difference between us and most people is we're not afraid to try it and implement it. And then maybe tweak it to your own. We're totally, I don't want to say fearless, but we're kind of on. Sometimes we jump too fast.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing either. So.
But that's what you have to be. And Glenn, you mentioned that earlier. You know, I've been going to conferences for years, but unless you actually implement stuff, that information is going to go nowhere. You're going to fall back into doing the same old stuff, and then you're going to go to the conference every year. You're really never going to grow. And the growth was going to happen whether you went to that conference or not. You know, rapid growth actually takes initiative and just, all right, let's do it. We're going to implement, and just let's flip and go and see if it works out.
You can't be a perfectionist. I think some people get hung up on those details, and they want it to be perfect. If you guys walked in our office and really dove into our systems, you'd be like, this is a shit show. But sometimes, and I think it's because we're going so fast that on the back end, we're constantly chasing it. Whereas I think a lot of people want to do it the other way. They want to have it perfected and then implement it. And you're never going to perfect it. Just get it good enough. Just 80%. Like, get it good enough so the outside world doesn't see your inside mess, and just go. Like, you got to just do it.
So a lot of home inspectors have asked us about failures. Are there any failures that's something you've implemented and you've actually learned a lot because you failed there?
Yeah, we hired a termite leader before our one right now. That was a failure. A quick one, though.
Yeah, I mean...
A quick one,
yeah, I mean, you know, we run into failures. I mean, you can scale the failures, small or large, depending on the impact it had. But to me, we run into failures on a daily basis. But the thing is, we don't really look at it and make it such that, oh my gosh, this is a failure, and label it as a failure. It's a learning experience. That's how I like to look at it, right? Because we're made to fail. And I think that's the difference between, real big drivers versus who are not is, they think too much about failure as a, huge impactful thing in what they're doing, and that holds people back, I think. So, you know what? Invite failure to your life in every aspect of it, right? And take it as a, we're human. We're supposed to fail at things. But if you fail at something and never want to do it again, you just keep eliminating things from your life and your mindset, right? So you're saying no to possibilities. So please, to guys out there, accept failure. Don't take it as a bad thing in your life, Definitely make it a learning experience, and be willing to do it again, even on a bigger level.
That's what I was just saying.
And you'll win.
So we, like he said, I
love it. I love it.
Failed daily. We have failed so many times, but I can't think of one thing. I honestly can't think of one thing that we had a failure and we didn't go after it again. We just kind of back up and go like, oh shit, that didn't work. What didn't work? Let's be real with ourselves and go again. And sometimes to the point where people are like, what are you thinking? You totally, that was the wrong call. And we're like, no, we just did it wrong. We did it wrong.
Yeah, we just did it wrong.
And we're going to redo it again. I can't think of any exceptions.
So actually, let me elaborate on a bigger level on that, and I'll prove my point about, failure. You don't stop when you fail. In 2014, I decided that, hey, having a termite division would really help us expand. So I hired a person, and it was another failure. We had a lot of business, but there was no processes, systems, anything in place, right? But what it did was it gave me an idea of what not to do and how to do things right. So I was still wanting to do it and learning from that experience. And this time around, we did it and hit $1 million in our first year. And we're about to hit $4 million. And that came from learning experience of failure 4 or 5 years ago.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
And then it got you. Yeah, you knew what not to do. I'm not going to do that again. The guy wasn't wearing a belt. I'm not hiring him. That's crazy. That's awesome. Oh, I love that. This has been fantastic. You guys are killing it. You're an inspiration to me and Jake and everybody that's listening. And we're just so lucky that you guys wanted to come on and share your story and share where you're headed. And we definitely have to have you guys on again when you cross over that 10 million, 15, all the way on to 50, because you're just going to learn so much more and make a bigger impact on our listeners. So thank you guys so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, such a pleasure having me.
Yes, thank you. Sure. Thank you so much. And if you could leave our audience with one tip or trick or one takeaway that they can implement right now or go look into right now, what would you say is a priority for someone who's just starting out?
I'll go first. Number one, I've learned just over the last, I haven't really understood it, but I have a good idea of what vision really means. About 5 years ago, actually in the 2016 conference, Patty Thornberry said, "Hey, how much revenue are you doing right now? And what do you want to do next year?" And we all wrote it down. And she said, double it and write it down. Okay. Now looking back, I learned about like what vision really is in RGT. And at that time, I didn't realize the power of vision and really putting an idea in your mind. It is so powerful. Now looking back, it was just that idea in your head and everything kind of led to that. And you didn't even know about it. But now I understand how vision works. I mean, it's kind of silly at a $6 million level and think about like in 5 years, we're going to do $50 million. I think most people would laugh.
Yeah.
The thing is, I actually never thought that I would even think about $50 million. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make that a goal. I'm going to put it in my head. Let's start with that.
Yep.
Okay. So if you're a one-man show, imagine having 2 people. Actually, scratch that. Imagine having 10 people. Imagine having 100 people.
Yeah.
Really put that in your head. Not only about business, but everything else in life, right?
Yeah.
You're made to be doing better things every day. So if you're willing to do that, there's massive opportunities. So anything you put your mind into, your vision, and get clear as possible along the way. You don't have to do it overnight. Take your time, but have that big vision and run for it.
And I would say,
I love that.
I love that you said that because that's so you. He's the visionary.
I love it.
I would say be very mindful on who gets in your circle, in your world, in all areas. Get the right people. Put effort into getting the right people in your circle and the wrong people out. If you go to a business conference, even if you're a one-man show, don't ever be afraid to go up to the big companies, and they're just humans. They can totally relate to where you were. They started there. And you want them to grow. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to try and be their friend. Like, they can still be your friend. It's okay. People way bigger than us, and they're genuine friendships. But don't think for a minute that we don't learn from them, too, right? It's really nice to have those people in your world. And not just in the professional side, but, in your regular life, too. You never know. If you have that vision, you're going to start attracting people who want to be a part of that vision. So don't be afraid to share it. Get the people who laugh at that vision. Those are the ones who don't need to be in your circle. Get them out. You certainly don't want to work for you. And you probably don't want to have a cocktail with them either. They're going to talk you out of it. Put the right people in and the wrong people out. That's what I would say.
I love that. That is so powerful.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. It's been great.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, guys. Yeah. I mean, for me, this is the first podcast, and I was a little like, okay, how does this work? What do I say? I think it went great. I'm so pumped. It's great, and I love I love to help other people, man. I mean, I'll be so happy to talk or anything. If any of the listeners have anything,
would you like me to put? You want me to put your information in the caption?
Absolutely.
All right. So look down in the caption, and we will have some information so that you can get in touch with Glennen. I think that he would be a great resource for anyone who takes that step and reaches out to him. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. And if anyone wants to reach Joey and I, you can actually find us at the end of the month, September 27th through October 1st. Joey and I will be at the Inspection Super Conference at the Bellagio in Las Vegas. This is one of the best home inspection conferences and expos in the industry, and we are very happy to be there at our booth. You can see Joey and I and a bunch of other inspectors where you can find the information that Andrea and Glennen are talking about. You know, finding those right people, that's where it starts. So thank you so much for coming on. Thank you to our audience, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to the Inspection Pro Joe podcast. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the bell so you won't miss our next episode. This episode was produced by Jake Aronson. This has been a Pair Payments production.